Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Brahma Bulletin. I'm the Bullish Brahma and I'm here to talk everything San Antonio Brahmas. In today's video, we're going to continue breaking down the Brahmas roster, but we're going to focus on the defensive side of the ball, so don't go anywhere. Alright, so let's delve into this article. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, the roster situation is very fluid. Players are getting released left and right, almost on a daily basis. We have new signings, and we even actually have a trade, and we'll get to that in a moment. So first I want to focus on the defensive line, the front seven, defensive line, and the linebackers. Now the author believes that the Brahmas are going to have a good defense, and that the defensive line is going to be the strength of our strength. And I tend to agree, and I really hope that is the case. Because if we have a strong defensive line that can really bull rush the quarterback, they can cause all kinds of problems in the backfield. Almost like a bull in a china shop, huh? Nailed that one. So, anyways, moving along. But with the linebackers, the author believes the linebackers are also going to be a strength. Now, our linebackers are going to be run stoppers. Control the line of scrimmage with the offensive line. Linebackers are able to focus on gap control and sealing those gaps, preventing the running back from doing any type of cutbacks. And if we can do that, that is going to be our absolute strength. And I love it. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, big plays and defense win championships. And I believe that the Brahmas, if they have this defense, like the author in this article, and another author in another article said, pans out to be true, we got ourselves a ticket to a championship. Now, what I like to see in the backfield, that's going to be our cornerbacks and safeties. I want to see them be shut down cornerbacks. Now, y'all remember a few years ago, the New York Jets had a cornerback called Darrelle Revis, and the Vikings had a cornerback named Xavier Rhodes. Well, Revis was known as Revis Island, and Xavier Rhodes was known as Rhodes Closed. Why do they have such silly names? Well, they had silly names because they were shut down cornerbacks in their prime. Quarterbacks were afraid to even throw the ball in their direction. If we can have something similar to those, we have a good defense potentially. This will limit the quarterback's field, cut it in half, and now the cornerback will only be focusing on one side of the field because they're too afraid to throw to the other side. And that will just make our defense even more opportunistic, where we know that they're only focusing here, then we can focus our attention there, and we can have some ball hawking quarterbacks that will swarm those wide receivers and shut them down. I'm really super excited about this defense. Now, I did previously mention about a trade. The Brahmas did make a trade earlier this year, and it's the first in this version of the XFL. So, yay Brahmas, we made some history. What's interesting is that they traded Kerry Vincent Jr. to the Roughnecks. Now, the author believes that Vincent was supposed to be a starting cornerback. So I kind of find it interesting that the Brahmas potentially traded one of their starting cornerbacks, and even more interesting, they traded it to a division rival in the Houston Roughnecks. So is that going to come back to bite us? I would love to see that the wide receiver that we traded got in return for this trade, Darcy Roberson, ends up burning Kerry Vincent Jr. for like a 40-yard touchdown. Wouldn't that be delicious? That would be so awesome, and a little bit of revenge. Maybe not revenge, but a little bit of justification for the trade. So I find it interesting that we traded a potential starter for a wide receiver that may or may not be a starter, but we'll see how it pans out. Now, there was a player that I had on my radar, and I mentioned in a previous video. His name is Coney Durr. Now, the reason why I had him on my radar is because Coney Durr was from the University of Minnesota. So I was like, Sky Yuma, row the boat, go Gophers. But unfortunately, he was recently released by the team. So good luck to you, there, Coney, but looks like you're not going to be part of the 210 Ranchero. Hey, that rhymes. 210 Ranchero. So, anyways, moving along. Another player that I had on my roster is defensive back Sean Williams. The reason why I had him on my roster is that he is a fellow Squid. Now, the reason I had him, that I find it very interesting for him, is that he hasn't even reported to training camp yet. He is still waiting permission from the Navy to even join the team. And as a retired Squid, I know what it's like to hurry up and wait and have to cut through all the red tape that you got to go through. So, really rooting for you there, Sean, and keep going and sail those 7 seas. And I'm really looking forward to join the team if you're able to. And if not, I know you'll do great serving our country. So that is the roster for right now. And now we're going to take a look at some closing thoughts. So, what are my closing thoughts? Well, I think that the roster is full of good talent. It's a good mixture of young players coming straight out of college. It also has a good mixture of players who have played in the XFL before. Now, interestingly, we have 2 players on our roster that played in the 2020 version of the XFL with the Tampa Bay Vipers. Running back Jacques Patrick and wide receiver Jalen Tolliver. Also, the good thing is that our offensive coordinator, Jamie Elizondo, was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Vipers. So that's 3 people that we have on our roster that worked together before. Now, it's been 3 years, so we don't know if the chemistry is still going to be there or how strong it is. But I think that does give us a little advantage compared to other teams. And also, we have some players with NFL experience. Granted, they don't have a lot of NFL experience, only a handful of games here and there, and nothing really particularly impactful. But it's still good to have that experience under our belt. And I think that it's a good mixture of young and experienced players. Now, the X factor is going to be coaching. Now, our offensive coordinator, like I said, was an offensive coordinator in the 2020 Vipers, and our defensive coordinator, Jim Herman, was the defensive coordinator for the New York Guardians in the 2020 XFL version. So we have experience there. Hines Ward, however, has no previous head coaching experience. Now, is that going to be a big deal? Not necessarily. I mean, look at Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings, for example. First-year head coach, got us a 13 wins. All right, I'll give you a couple seconds to get the laughter out. Yep, bring it on. Okay, enough of that, moving on. My point is that just because you are a first-year head coach doesn't mean that you're going to be a 2-8 team. Hines Ward has surrounded himself with talent and experience. Yes, there's going to be growing pains. He's going to have to learn how to do in-game management, when to call timeouts, when to go for it, when to punt it off, all that stuff. So there will be some growing pains. However, I don't think that means that we're going to be a bad team. I still am very bullish on this team. I mean, I am the bullish Brahma after all. If I wasn't bullish, then I would be bearish. And that doesn't sound right. So, yes, I'm very bullish on this team, and I'm really excited for the season to begin. So, I'd like to see you guys out there in Alabama and cheering on for our team. So, let's go Brahmas. Horns forward. And that's it. That's the video. Thank you all so very much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm so excited to see you again next time. Until then, keep your horns pointed up, San Antonio.